Professional football in America is a special game, a unique game. Played nowhere else on earth, it is a rare game. The men who play it make it so.
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Coming now, buddy. We on our horse all day long. Let's just kick that butt all day long. Pick it up. Don't stop. Pick it up. Let's go.
Get after the ball. Tackle somebody.
Welcome to This Week in Fantasy Football. This is Week 5. I'm Mike Cardano. This is my sidekick, Scott Engel. Scotty, how are you today?
I'm still trying to figure out the whole sidekick thing. I got 3 times as many fantasy years in this industry as you. I guess sidekick is a new street term for the most experienced guy. So I'll take it.
Oh, yeah, we go through this every week. It's whether the viewers like it. I can't do anything about it. So listen, was at a charity event for a buddy of mine who passed away. My buddy Chuck.
Sorry to hear
give
that.
A shout out for Chuck here, but died of leukemia. And we got some celebrities there. I had some questions for you. I made the rounds getting questions here. We're doing well with celebrity questions. They were there for the benefit. First up is Jeffrey Gaines, who was there playing at the benefit. You know Jeffrey Gaines?
Yeah, the singer who did the cover of "In Your Eyes" by Peter Gabriel.
That's Jeffrey.
Acoustic guitarist.
Yep.
Yes.
Big Pittsburgh fan.
Yes.
Big Pittsburgh fan.
He's not happy with that 0-4 start. I'm sure.
Here's his question. He wants to know. Are either Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders, or Heath Miller worth playing after the bye week?
I think Antonio Brown is a must-start right now. I think that's kind of obvious, especially in a PPR league. Caught 12 balls the last time out. And Heath Miller, I actually picked him up in one of my leagues before the bye because now that he's healthy again and they've pretty much taken the reins off of him in terms of his reps. You already saw 70 receiving yards right before the bye. But don't go too much with your heart, Jeffrey. It doesn't matter if you're a Steeler fan. You can't play fantasy football with your allegiance. If you need a tight end, you pick up Heath Miller, but you don't want to take players just because you like them on a certain team.
Well, it seemed to me that coincidentally for fantasy that the skill position players on Pittsburgh are a little better off than the line.
Well, they just acquired Levi Brown in a trade. I don't know how much of an upgrade that is, but whatever it is, the Steelers are going to throw a lot. Roethlisberger is going to break the pocket. He's going to throw. Heath Miller as a safety valve for him. Antonio Brown's already a must-start right now as a wide receiver, too, at least in fantasy football. Heath Miller with tight end being a very thin position, unreliable position, somebody got to start.
Okay, all right. So I made the rounds. There were some other celebrities at the event. First thing I have to do is I want to apologize to you, but I'll make amends. I obtained a Sean Alexander bobblehead doll for you that he signed, but I lost it on the train on the way home. But I called Dolman, and he's going to get me another one. Sorry about that.
Sean Alexander was there?
He was there. Had your bobblehead doll. Sorry.
Oh.
Anyway, Tony Dorsett has a question for you.
Tony Dorsett,
question.
Tony Dorsett has a question for me.
Here we go. You ready? If I were playing, where would you rank me among current running backs?
Among current running backs, I mean, Tony Dorsett was consistent every year. Lots of yardage, healthy amount of touchdowns. Tony Dorsett would probably be, he might be
He's a little guy. You don't have to worry about insulting him too much.
No, it doesn't work.
He's just still in shape.
Height doesn't matter. Maurice Jones-Drew and Darren Sproles have proved that. Tony Dorsett would be very, very consistent. I would say he would probably be a back-end running back one, definitely in my top 10. Definitely in my top 10.
I forget.
I admire Tony Dorsett more for the fact that he was consistent and durable for most years. To me, he would be a first-round pick.
Okay. And then at the same table, we had Earl Campbell. Okay? So Earl wants to know, would you rank him higher than Tony? Now, you lose no matter how you answer this. You don't want to insult people, but you got to answer the question.
I'm going to go by whole career here, and just by longevity of career, I'd probably have to go with Tony Dorsett. Earl Campbell was tremendous when he played, but he had such a violent running style that it led to kind of a shorter career there, unfortunately.
Who runs like Earl today?
Who runs like Earl Campbell today?
Lynch runs a little like Earl, doesn't he?
A little like Earl, but Trent Richardson reminds me a little of Earl Campbell in his violent running style.
All right, so I thought for sure you were going to pick Campbell. Just because the career was too short?
To me, Dorsett, it's like I almost don't have to worry about plugging him in. With Campbell, it's like, okay.
By the way, he was in a wheelchair. You could have given him a perk and told him he was better.
Well, I didn't know that.
I'm just telling you. All right. Let's move on to the games.
It's like much respect no matter what. So.
Let's move on to the games. We got Saints at the Bears.
Saints.
What do we got there? What are you looking at?
Well, of course, start all your Saints. Kenny Stills is an interesting guy because Lance Moore continues to be hurt. Somebody for the bye week, you could plug him in. That's New Orleans defense is playing a lot better this year. So I don't like Jay Cutler against that defense. I don't think Alshon Jeffrey's a terrific start. Matt Forte's playing terrific right now. Obviously, you roll out Brandon Marshall, you roll out Martellus Bennett.
Now, let me ask you this, because I spoke about him, Jeffries, on Thursday. Well, what do you think
Jeffries?
about him, Alshon Jeffrey?
Oh.
Now, he had 7 catches and 8 targets last week, 2 weeks ago, and then last week he had 5 catches, 107 yards, and he put one in the end zone. Yeah, he's getting single coverage over there. What don't you like about it?
He's coming along nicely. It's just the fact that the Saints are playing very, very good defense right now. They know how to take away some receiving weapons there. The challenge for them is, can they double Brandon Marshall and still stop Jeffrey? I don't think Jeffrey has a high ceiling against the way Rob Ryan's defense is playing right now, but he's okay.
Okay. Patriots at the Bengals. Can the Patriots keep it going?
I'm going to tell you my sleeper. I'm going to tell you my sleeper for this game. Okay, every time a guy faces his former team, you got to take notice. The team's going to want to get him the ball. The coaching staff is going to want the ball. He's going to give it to me. I'm going to want to punch it in. I say Ben Jarvis Green Ellis scores a touchdown against the Patriots this week. When guys face their former team and they played for them recently, you always have to take notice as a fantasy player. Andy Dalton, terrible right now, cannot hit the side of a barn. You roll out A.J. Green, you roll out Giovanni Bernard. A.J. Green, though, limited cap on his number, though, because Belichick always knows how to take away your best weapon. On the Patriots side of the ball, if they get Danny Amendola back this week, and they look like it is, he is a must-start. He is going to put up huge numbers when he's in there.
Yeah, I got to be careful about the lack of productivity that Cincinnati had last week. I think the Browns defense had a little something to do with that.
Playing very well. So is the Patriots defense.
Yeah, they don't have the big guy anymore in there. Although, like no other team, they just plug people in.
True. But I think Green Ellis is going to score this week. Keep that in mind for you daily fantasy players when you're playing on DraftKings and you're playing on Draft Street, Fantasy Feud. You want to save some money. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis for a touchdown.
Okay. Jacksonville at the Rams. How's your buddy Jones Drew doing? I was at the draft when he picked himself number 1.
Yeah, I'm in that league with him, and he's not helping himself too much. No. And those World League
I don't think it's his fault.
World League of American Football uniforms don't look so great on the Jaguars. They do get Justin Blackmon back this week. He could be a bye week filler. They're saying he's in great shape. Maurice Jones-Drew, there's rumors he might get traded. Nothing firm, but we're hearing a lot of whispers that he might get moved. I think a good landing spot for him actually might be the Rams, but maybe the Patriots and the Saints would be good fits. Just my personal speculation.
Does it seem there's more
those
trade
last
in
two
the NFL
teams
this year than there were historically? It's not like baseball where people get traded all the time.
A lot of years in football, you didn't see a lot of trades, but then that changed in 2010 during the season when Buffalo traded Marshawn Lynch to Seattle during the season. Now you saw the Trent Richardson trade. But with the Rams, interesting stories with the running back situation this week. Darryl Richardson saying on Twitter that he's not starting, and then there's an ESPN report that Zach Stacy might actually get a lot of carries. Pick up Zach Stacy and stash him.
If it's an ESPN report, that means that somebody else broke the news and they claimed it. So I don't know how much water there is in that. But Ravens at the Dolphins.
Torrey Smith is a must start right now. People were saying he was just a post and fly pattern guy.
Two teams
in the
looking
preseason. I beg to differ about Torrey Smith. He's a must start. They're going to get Ray Rice more involved this week. For the Dolphins, young team, they really got killed at New Orleans last week. I don't think they were ready for that, but I think they get back in something of a rhythm. Lamar Miller, he's still getting Daniel Thomas taking goal line carries from him. We spoke to Steve Tasker of CBS Sports this week on the Roto Experts in the Morning on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, and he speculated it's probably because they don't feel quite ready with him in terms of pass protection, pickup, and fundamentals yet. So a lot of people asking, why don't they just give Lamar Miller the ball all the time? They still want Daniel Thomas on the field in more key situations. Brian Hartline, mediocre fantasy receiver. Mike Wallace is once again calling for the ball, so keep an eye out for that.
All right, Eagles at the Giants in the NFC least. I got to believe they're going to start feeding Wilson the ball.
That's the big story in
what do they have to
fantasy
lose?
this week. Everything is aligned for David Wilson to succeed. I watched the film last week on the Giants game and seeing how Wilson ran, no longer tentative, running with confidence, hitting the hole. The Giants need to run the ball to keep offensive balance. They're desperate at home against a divisional opponent. Everything's set up for Wilson to succeed. If he doesn't do it now, I think we give up on him for all time. Victor Cruz, I've nicknamed him the Bodega because he's open all the time. He might be one of the top 2 wide receivers in fantasy right now. Take a chance on Hakeem Nicks on a bye. I know he's been disappointing. He's dropped some balls. He's been accountable for it. This Philadelphia pass defense is very bad. Philadelphia, you're going to see Michael Vick freelance a lot, have a big day. Deshaun Jackson will have a big day. Of course, LaShawn McCoy as well. And if you're desperate for PPR help, maybe you take a flyer on Jason Avant this week.
I don't know what the over is in this game, but I don't think anybody's playing any defense. Detroit and Green Bay. Detroit at Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay gets Eddie Lacy back this week. Keep an eye on that. Jonathan Franklin will still be involved. Of course, you start all your guys in the passing game for the Packers, including Jermichael Finley, who's going to be back. Reggie Bush is going to play a huge role in this game because they want to be able to control the ball as much as they can. Of course, Matthew Stafford, he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback right now. Nobody's even talking about it because they kind of expect it. Joik Bell. Look for him in the flex this week. Very physical runner that I think they're going to mix in nicely. Nice sleeper week for Joik Bell here this week against the Packers.
Stafford's been a better fantasy quarterback to date anyway. It's only 4 games than Rodgers has.
Yes, but Rodgers has been on a bye though.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
Chiefs, you might want to note that.
Chiefs at the Titans. We just did.
Well,
Chiefs at the
I
Titans.
had to note it for you.
Well, what's the difference?
Yeah.
So we're a team. We're a team.
We are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, you're my sidekick.
I'm going to kick you in the side.
Chiefs at the Titans.
Chiefs at the Titans. The Chiefs may be the top defense in fantasy football right now. Another good matchup for them. Of course, you roll out Jamal Charles, our fantasy insider, RotoExperts.com, Steve Silverman, very down on Dwayne Bowe. You should probably trade him if you still can. Donnie Avery, not somebody you can rely on. Sean McGrath, somebody to keep an eye on at tight end, but not to start yet. From the Titans' perspective, Ryan Fitzpatrick gets the start. This is not a good look for him. Even in a 2-quarterback league, I might be advising don't use Ryan Fitzpatrick this week. I like Nate Washington less with Ryan Fitzpatrick there throwing the ball because Jake Locker heavily relied on Nate Washington. This is going to be another challenging week for Chris Johnson, who lashed out at fantasy owners on Twitter this past week. Fantasy owners attacking him on Twitter, him firing him back. I just want to say to Chris Johnson, Ray Rice, D'Angelo Williams, and every other athlete who has heard negative and very sometimes personal attacks from fantasy football players on social media, okay? Those people don't represent all of us in this business. You guys make our fun game possible. We thank you.
As a team, we do that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Here we go. Seattle at Indianapolis.
Yes.
Now, we all know that Seattle got a gift last week, don't we?
You're ridiculous.
Well, anyway,
we had a big fight off the air on this. He refuses to give the Seahawks credit. But anyway, another road game for the Seahawks. They're still missing significant pieces on their offensive line. I think they're going to stick heavily to the run. Should be a good game for Marshawn Lynch. Russell Wilson should put up decent numbers. Not you can start any of the Seattle wide receivers right now. Trent Richardson is only going to get better with every coming week. He should have a respectable game this week. I don't think
he better get better. His yards per carry still stinks.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter right now. You know why? Because the first 2 games he played
give him the ball when it gets on the 1 and he scores.
The first 2 games he played with Cleveland, he has trouble with in-depth analysis here. So I'm gonna help you here.
We're a team.
Cleveland, the first 2 games, the Brandon Whedon offense, there was nowhere to go. The last 2 games, he's been learning a new offense. As he continues to develop in this offense, things are only going to get better for him. It'll set up play action for Andrew Luck. Reggie Wade, a decent start. Kobe Fleener, maybe if you have somebody to buy, the arrow is pointing up for Kobe Fleener. This is going to be a fun game to watch.
So 20 carries for 60 yards is not an anomaly. He's going to do better than that against Seattle.
I don't know if it's going to happen this week, but I think going forward, you're going to see a lot of outstanding games. If you can buy low on Trent Richardson right now, I would do it because people are talking about the yards per carry. And the fact that he faces the Seahawks this week, if you could buy low on Trent Richardson, I would do it. I think during the second half of the season, he's going to be an outstanding number 1 fantasy running back as long as he stays healthy.
Okay, Carolina at Arizona.
Carolina and Arizona, Cam Newton played well before the bye. I think the Arizona defense is going to spend too much time on the field, and Cam is going to burn him. Steve Smith, not quite what he used to be. Brandon LaFell, I can't quite start him. D'Angelo Williams is adequate. On the other side of the ball in Arizona, they don't have enough offensive balance. I really like the Carolina defense a lot this week. Larry Fitzgerald must start no matter who he faces. We saw that with Darrell Revis last week. You have to watch. There is some speculation in Arizona that Rashard Mendenhall is going to lose even more touches to Andre Ellington.
Okay. Denver at Dallas. Tony Romo's getting a little chirpy lately.
Well, things are frustrating there in Dallas. I think you're going to see a lot of DeMarco Murray because, Dallas wants to play some ball control there. Doesn't look like Miles Austin's going to play again. There's no way the Cowboys can stop Dez. I see a minimum of 2 touchdown passes for Tony Romo, although it might come with 2 interceptions. Obviously, Dallas last week, couldn't stop the Chargers. So this week, how are they going to stop the Broncos? I think No-Show Moreno is a great salary cap play, especially in your daily games. I think he scores this week. Okay. Texans at the 49ers. Have the 49ers gotten back on track or no? It looks like they have. This will be a tough test for them. In terms of pure statistics, Houston has a very good defense. But they give up points because, the offense turns the ball over, plus the fact that they don't force enough turnovers themselves. San Francisco's defense has not played up to par. So you're Colin Kaepernick. If you got Phillip Rivers this week, I'd rather use Phillip Rivers. I'm facing that in one of my leagues. Frank Gore, you got to start him as an RB2. Anquan Bolden, I don't think is going to have a terrific week. This could be a very, very physical game. Arian Foster proved last week you still start him no matter what the matchup. Same thing with Andre Johnson. Garrett Graham, maybe if you're desperate for some tight end help. Owen Daniels still going to be a factor. They're using a lot of 2 tight end looks. I think DeAndre Hopkins gets back in the flow this week, but only a start as a wide receiver 3 in a large league this week.
Okay. Sunday night, San Diego at Oakland.
You have to get up late for this one. 11:35. You're not going to know your final fantasy scores. Usually you know your final fantasy scores by Sunday going into the Monday night game by then. But, some of us who do like morning shows on national radio, we're not going to be able to catch this game. But bad pass defense on San Diego. I don't know how much Oakland can exploit it because Terrell Pryor's still working on his mechanics, so he's not a surefire start. I do like Denarius Moore. Rashard Jennings should get the start, give you decent numbers. Phillip Rivers, a top 10 start this week. I also like Eddie Royal to show up and score this week. Ryan Matthews, adequate start. You can definitely roll Danny Woodhead out there again.
Okay. I was at the Jets facility this week out in Florham Park.
Yes.
And one of the things I took a photograph of was this.
And what's that?
What does that look like to you?
Well, it looks like a trophy.
It's a Lombardi trophy. I don't think Seattle has one of those.
Yeah, but I don't think you saw the Jets win that.
That's me. Look, if you blow it up, that's me taking the picture. I'm in the trophy.
So you're like a Yankee fan now. You're like bragging about stuff that you never experienced or saw, right?
I was 2.5 years old.
Yeah. Well, you don't remember any of that.
Yeah,
you don't remember the game from 2 weeks ago. How are you going to remember that?
You don't even have. You don't have a trophy.
Yeah, but I've seen my teams play in the
Seattle
Super
would like
Bowl
a
and
trophy.
you haven't.
Admit it. You're
going to brag about 1969 now.
I'll brag about
Are you a
anything
Cleveland
like that.
Indians fan? You're going to brag about me in 1945 now?
If I was a Cleveland Indians? What would you do if you were
You
in
didn't
Cubs
watch
fan?
the Jets in the Super Bowl, so it doesn't count for you. If you didn't experience
Oh, it
it,
counts.
your fan experience is no more richer than
It
mine. In
counts.
fact,
I
it's
got
a
it.
lot worse than mine.
And now I got a picture.
Yeah.
So let's go over the game as they
The only way you can
killed
ever
on
see a trophy is take a picture
Monday
of it.
night. Jets in Atlanta.
Jets,
in the Dome.
Jets in Atlanta.
So what's the under over? How many times are the Jets going to turn the ball?
Love the Atlanta defense this week. The Jets are going to be well with both their starting wide receivers. Kellen Winslow, a good play because Geno Smith is going to throw a lot.
It's
to
just him and Curly.
Bilal Powell, decent play. On the other side of the ball, can't use Roddy White until he shows us that he's really healthy.
They should have just rested him.
They should have just rested him. Good point. You like Tony Gonzalez, Julio Jones must start. I think Jacquizz Rodgers can give the Jets defense more trouble than Jason Snelling with his kind of shake and bake moves.
Right. Okay, that's all we got for this week. This is week 5 of fantasy football. Make sure you check your rosters. Buys have started. For Mike Cardano and Scott Engel, see you next week.
Now's the time to work and strain at a sport that tests the spirit and challenges the brain.
Come on, let's go. Yeah, I'd like to have 75 degrees and sunny all the time too, but that's not football.
Do you fear the force of the wind, the slash of the rain?
We're gonna play it through light and rain.
Go face them and fight them. Be savage again.